You're listening to the How to Talk to Girls podcast with your dating coach, Trip, from tripadvice.com. Do you struggle with getting girls to like you? You'll learn step by step how to talk to girls to create deep connections, whether it be for one night of wild fun, a 1-week fling.
Are you currently involved in a sexual relationship?
Or for a lifelong partner.
Full of long-lasting pleasure.
Here's your host, Trip.
Hello and welcome to the How to Talk to Girls podcast. This is your host, Trip, from tripadvice.com, and this episode is sponsored by Spartagen XT, your all-natural supplement filled with herbs, filled with vitamins to help boost your sex drive and boost your libido. So if you're looking to get that confidence back in the bedroom to help with any sort of erectile dysfunction or help boost your testosterone, then check this out at SpartanLibido.com, and I have that in the show notes for you. SpartanLibido.com. Go check it out today. An all-natural supplement for you to help get your confidence back in the bedroom with the girls that you want. And if you are worried about low testosterone in the future, then hop on this stuff right away. It is the Advanced Testosterone Formula, clinical strength. So go check it out, SpartanLibido.com. Now, today's episode is a voicemail, and we're talking about some interesting, deep stuff that I don't normally talk about. It's about STDs. That's right, sexually transmitted diseases. How did I come up with this? Well, there was a voicemail left by a fan of the podcast who called in at 323-432-0025, and he called in, left a voicemail, which you're going to hear in just a second, asking about what do you do if you have an STD? Meaning, how do you go about telling a girl that you have something like this? Now, I'm going to do an episode in the future where I'm going to put on a doctor, a medical doctor, to tell us about how to prevent yourself from getting any sort of STD and how to deal with that if you do get that, and kind of answer all your questions if you do have any regarding that. But today, this is for people who want to know, well, what do you do if you have one and you already have it, and it's one of those ones that are permanent? And again, we'll hear about that in just a second from our caller. But what do you do? What are you supposed to say? How do you talk to the girl? And I got some great advice for you. So stay tuned in just a minute. We're going to play that voicemail. And if you have a question, all you're going to do is call in 323-432-0025. That is the How to Talk to Girls hotline, and I will answer your question here on the podcast. Okay? So go ahead and call in and get your question answered. But for now, let's go into the voicemail that came in regarding STDs. Here it is.
Hey, Trip. It's Cody from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I'm 23 years old, and I just kind of wanted to run something by you. I've been dealing with this for a little bit now, but one of the things that, I have trouble with, it's not even so much the approach or anything like that. It's the simple fact that, at some point in my past, I contracted HPV, human papillomavirus, and now, in order for me to have anything beyond a platonic relationship with a woman, I need to let them know right off the bat, because I could potentially give them something that could cause mouth, neck, and throat cancer, along with cervical. But my issue is, I can never let a relationship just develop naturally, for fear of that first kiss. Prior to that moment, I already have to bring the relationship to a romantic standpoint. And I don't know if you have anything to say on the subject or not, but I figured, maybe if I brought this up and was transparent, it could potentially help me and maybe even one other person, you know what I mean? At least one other person has to deal with this out there. So, I'd appreciate it if you could, I guess just let me know anything that you would feel on the subject. But yes, thank you very much, Trip, and I hope you have a good day. Bye.
Cody, you are a brave man. First of all, I want to thank you, as I thank all of my fans who write in, or if they call in, because this is especially for this, it's a very difficult thing to admit. As we know, there's a lot of stigmas on STDs, right? If you have something, mainly something like herpes, or if you have something like what you have, which is HPV, which I think is also known as genital warts. If you have any of those, girls think it's gross, guys think it's gross. It's something that's, well, it can't hurt guys too bad. I know that if you have HPV and you're a girl, it could cause cervical cancer. There are some complications. But beyond that, they're not the worst things in the world to have because they don't kill you. It's not like having HIV. And if you have something like gonorrhea or chlamydia, I know those are taken care of by just taking some antibiotics or some pills, and those go away. But anyways, the point is yeah, it has a social stigma, right? Nobody wants to get those, of course, and you're kind of looked down upon by a lot of people if you do. Not saying that if you get that, you're going to be looked down upon. Again, there are very mature and open people, but that's what society kind of thinks and what they say. You hear that. You hear, the words like ew and gross connected to those. So I understand that having that, can really suck. Now, I'm not here to just make you feel bad that you have that. That's not the point of this episode. The point of this episode is to really help the guys out there who do have this and they're thinking, well, now that I have this, I got to be socially responsible and I got to tell the girl that I am with that I have it. First of all, that is your first step, and you kind of already taken care of that, is that I urge you, if you do have any STD, that you do tell a girl that you're with. Is just really a terrible thing to do if you were to not tell her, and then what? Then you risk her getting it, and what if this ends up being someone who you end up in a relationship with? You think that they're eventually not going to find out? Well, they will find out, and when they do, they're probably going to break up with you because you lied to them. So all signs point to you should tell the girl that you're with that you do have it. And I'm glad, Cody, that you've already figured that out. That is the way to go. Okay? Now, the question is how do you do it? When do you do it? And, I sat down and I thought about this for a long time. And, I have friends and I know people who have it. And so I've been through this with other guys and girls before who have told me that they have it. And they, just came to me and we kind of talked about, and they told me what their plan was. Like, what are they going to do? When are they going to tell their partner, or when are they going to tell their future partner? And just discussing it over the years, I really came to my own conclusions, which is my opinion. You can take it or leave it. Of course, a lot of this stuff is my opinion that you can take or leave, but especially this is kind of up to you. First of all, I definitely think no matter what, you got to tell them. But here's my thoughts on really what you should do in terms of, how to sit them down, when to sit them down. I really believe that if you have something like this and you want to tell the girl, it's not something that you need to say actually right away. I don't know how other people feel about that per se. I've heard different opinions before, but I believe that this is something that you should tell them absolutely 100% before you get physical with them. But that doesn't mean that you have to tell them on the first date. That doesn't mean you have to have it on your Tinder profile or your Match profile. Obviously, I don't think you would do that. Unless you were on one of those sites that actually are single sites for people who have an STD. I forgot what it's called. But they have them, and I'm sure on there, you're categorized by what kind of STD you have. But anyway, that is an option for you, by the way. If you have that, maybe going on one of those sites where people already are positive with something, then you can meet someone who also has it. But again, if you don't want to do that and you want to meet someone who either has it or doesn't have it, maybe you're out at a bar, or maybe you're, maybe you're on Tinder or something like that, you don't have to tell them on the first date. You don't have to tell them right away. It's not necessary. And I'll tell you why. Because if you tell someone right away, well, it's very easy for them to reject you. No, I don't think this sounds too selfish. But it just hear me out here for a second. It gives them a quick reason to go ahead and say, oh, well, I don't really know this person yet, so if they have an STD, I'm out, right? You're pretty much, I mean, this is my theory. Test it out if you want, but you'll probably get rejected most of the time. It doesn't give the girl or guy, if you're a girl listening to this, to give you a chance. It doesn't allow them to give you a chance because they're already going to be thinking, ooh, there's so many other people out there. Do I really want to be with this person who has some sort of STD, right? Now imagine if you told them, maybe on the second, third, fourth, fifth date, again, really any time just before you guys are having sex or getting physical, right? So again, really anything physical, because it's not just transmitted through sex, it's transmitted through blowjobs and eating girls out and maybe even other things too. But I would do research. I'm not a doctor. I don't know 100% how that all works. So do your own research on that. But either way, if you tell them beforehand, but yet you tell them after you guys have already gotten to know each other and you've gotten her somewhat attracted to already, well, I think that's a good time to do it because, hey, listen, it gives them this opportunity to still bail, right? They don't have to stay with you, but it also, it gives them an opportunity to have gotten to know you better and to say, you know what, maybe this person is worth it. You could be doing them a favor if you think about it. Let's flip this script for a second here. If you tell a girl right away, she might be like, oh, then forget this guy. But you're also not giving her an opportunity to meet an awesome person. Who is that? That's you. So give them an opportunity to meet and converse and date an awesome person. And then before you guys end up getting physical, then you tell them. And then they can make the decision on how they want to move forward. Now, here's the good news. Here's the really good news. I've heard stories of people doing exactly that. And most stories I've heard have turned out pretty well. I'm talking like 70 to 80% of the things that I've heard with people who have these, right? Like I said, friends, clients. I mean, it usually turns out pretty well because what happens is you've been so honest and upfront. You've not put them at any risk whatsoever because you guys have not gotten physical yet. And you tell them, and of course they're going to understand. I'm not sure, I don't know if too detailed of stories, but I couldn't imagine a girl being like, well, why didn't you tell me before? It's like, well, really, let's be honest. The point isn't to tell you right away. The point is to tell you so you're not at risk, right? So they don't get it. That's the best part. So I don't think you're going to be, get points off for saying it after a few dates. They're not going to be like, listen, if they like you, they might be actually like, well, I'm glad you told me a little bit later because I wouldn't have given you a chance. They might be happy that you told them later because now they actually got to know you. Now they're going to question it and they're going to be okay, like, what's going on here? How did you get it? And I would urge you to tell them the truth, tell them how you got it, tell them the story. And here's a really good tip too. I would say before you end up telling the girl you're dating or your partner, whoever it is, have a really extensive knowledge on your STD because here's what's going to happen. They're going to do their own research, but they might have a lot of questions. And if you don't really know about it or have done research on your own and have answers to a lot of questions, it could look irresponsible. And also, it's not going to really look like you're in control of this, right? Of this disease that you have, whatever it is. So wouldn't it be great if you could just be there and be kind of like the Google, like you're going to be the Google right there. Like if she has a question about it, you can answer it. And I would say something along the lines of, hey, listen, I know a lot about this. I've lived with it for X amount of months, X amount of years. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them because I've researched it. I know a lot about it. I've talked to doctors, right? That would make her feel more comfortable. And I think that's the key there is that you want to make them feel comfortable with what's going on, right? You're not going to pressure them to do anything they don't want to do, but you're going to be kind of like their guide. You're going to say, this is how someone would get it. This is how we would have to protect ourselves for you not to get it. You don't have to shove any information down her throat and just say a bunch of stuff without her asking, but be prepared for her to ask any questions and let her know, hey, I know a lot about it and I'm here to answer it for you. And here's another tip too, is I would try to feel comfortable with it. If you feel ashamed that you have it, if you feel down that you have it, and of course those things are completely normal, but hopefully you've done your own therapy or whatever you've done to kind of feel like you've accepted it, right? And as long as you accept it and you're like, hey, this is what I have and that's the situation and you're okay with it, it's going to make them feel a lot more comfortable. If you don't feel comfortable with it, they're not going to feel comfortable with it. If you feel comfortable with it, they still might not feel comfortable that you have it, but they're going to feel more comfortable than if you didn't feel comfortable. Hope I said that clear enough. Hope that makes sense. But that's kind of what you want to do. You want to make sure that you have the answers to all their questions. You feel comfortable, and then you tell them, a few dates in, and obviously before you guys get physical. I really think that is the most mature, best way, and it really puts you in a better position because it puts you in a position where you're going to hopefully get a girl to be interested in you, even though you have something like that, And you'd be surprised. Again, I've heard a lot of stories of guys and girls telling their partners, the people that they're dating, or I guess they're not their partners yet per se, but the people that they're dating, they've told them, and because they were honest, because they told them before, they got a lot of bonus points for that. Because they were comfortable with it, they got a lot of bonus points for that, and the people ended up either sleeping with them, hooking up with them, or getting into relationships with them. Because they felt comfortable enough to do it and they took the right precautions and all those good things, And I think that's really the best thing because you got to think about it, right? The person who got it, right? If you're listening right now, you probably got something and it was probably because the person that you were with, my guess most of the time, it's probably because they didn't tell you. Either they didn't know themselves and you guys didn't use protection, or they knew and didn't tell you and risked it and you got it anyways. And how upset are you that you ended up getting it from someone who either lied to you or wasn't responsible enough to tell you everything that was going on? So do you want to be that person? Of course you don't. No, you don't want to be the person who did the same thing to you. No, you want to step up and be a responsible, mature adult and be able to communicate and discuss these difficult things. And, that is going to give you your best bet here in terms of hopefully being able to get the person that you like comfortable with it and not judging you based on, the situation at hand, but judging you on you as a person and how awesome you are on so many other levels and looking past that kind of thing. So I hope this helps. That's really the extent to my advice here for you, Cody, and anyone else out there that is dealing with something like this. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm not a doctor. So if you have more questions, go on Google or talk to a physician, talk to a doctor, and get those things handled. And by God, please, if you are listening, and I do this as well, get yourself checked every 6 months. Get your blood taken, whatever you got to do, and make sure that you are, getting safe and you're not, and you're aware, and you know what you have and you know what you don't have. And I urge you to not only do it every 6 months, but also make sure that whoever you're going to be sleeping with, you find out if they have it. Don't just, get drunk and not use a condom. It's not worth it. It's not worth doing that to potentially risk, a lot of things, right? Getting an STD or getting the girl pregnant. It's just not worth it. So be responsible. I know this sounds like a PSA, but it should be just hammered into your head that is the best way. You don't want to live with regret. And trust me, one night of even the best sex in the world just isn't worth it, right? Think about it. Is it really worth it to have great sex one night to possibly contract an STD or even get a girl pregnant? Ooh, I don't think so. I think we can all agree that definitely, no matter who it is, it's just not worth it. Okay? All right, that's today's episode. If you have any questions, whether it's as deep as that or something light, anything you want to talk about regarding dating, sex, and relationships, you know who to call. Not the Ghostbusters. You call me, 323-432-0025. So go ahead, call in, ask your questions. I am here to answer for you. Have a great week, and I will see you on the next episode.
Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast and write a review. Over 18 and want a question answered on the podcast? Email all your questions to trip@tripadvice.com.